Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC. Big news breaking today. Eddie Howe's comments have set Liverpool fans buzzing as Alexander Isak could be on the move, while Darwin Nunez leaves Anfield for Al Hilal in a 46.3-meter switch. Who could be our next star signing? Stick around for all the details, and if you love the latest Liverpool transfer news, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you never miss a beat from the Reds. Eddie Howe hints at Alexander Isak exit with pointed remark to leave Liverpool on red alert. Newcastle striker Alexander Isak remains banished from training alongside his Magpies colleagues amid interest from Liverpool, and Eddie Howe has now offered a fresh update. Eddie Howe claims he's in the dark over Newcastle, telling star striker Alexander Isak he must stay at the club. The Swedish forward is at the heart of a major row involving his future amid interest from Liverpool. The Reds have already had a bid of over $100 million turned down by the Premier League rivals. That has led to Isak submitting a request to leave the club before the end of the window, while he has yet to be reunited with his teammates. Newcastle have reportedly taken a hardline stance over Isak's future. Reports earlier this week claimed that they told the 25-year-old that he won't be going anywhere this summer, a decision that has left him fuming. In the meantime, they have also told him that he will not play for the club until he understands his future lies in the Northeast. Asked about those claims, Newcastle boss Eddie Howe claimed that the non-sale stance was not led by him. Speaking after his side's pre-season friendly clash with Atletico Madrid, Howe said, "No, that's not something I'm aware of. I'm not party to all discussions, but I have no knowledge of that." Howe's latest comments come shortly after his previous update, where he claimed that he could not involve Isak while the transfer furore was ongoing. He said, "We've had discussions, and it's clear at the moment we can't have him involved with the group. I don't know how long that will be for. It's clear I can't involve him with the team at the moment. He is training later than the rest of the squad. There have been discussions since the tour. I don't think disciplinary action has happened. He is here, so of course he has a future at Newcastle. From our perspective, we would love to have him back with the team, but the situation has to be right for that to happen." Newcastle begin their latest Premier League campaign against Aston Villa next weekend, a game that Isak looks set to miss, a fact that is not lost on Howe. Asked if the striker could potentially play, Howe replied, "I want Alex to be playing today. I want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There is no part of me that does not want that outcome, but I don't see the current situation changing before Aston Villa." Alexander Isak, transfer latest. Eddie Howe makes major admission amid Liverpool interest. Magpies are battling to keep hold of their star striker amid links to Liverpool. Eddie Howe has revealed he will not have the final say over Alexander Isak's future at Newcastle. Isak is currently training by himself after taking no part in the club's latest preseason fixtures against Espanyol and Atletico Madrid. This is after missing the Magpies' tour of Asia amid links to Premier League champions Liverpool. Despite Newcastle already rejecting a $110 million offer for Isak from the Reds, the striker's future remains uncertain. Asked after Saturday's 2-0 defeat by Atleti at St. James's Park if he may have to let the player go, Howe said, "That's a decision that I won't make, that will be for other people to make. For me, I'm just trying to manage the situation and manage the team. Most importantly, manage the group of players that I'm working with day to day, that I love coaching and helping. We're focusing on next weekend's Premier League opener against Aston Villa. Everything else, to a degree, from my perspective, is not in my control, so it's not my focus." Then when asked about a report claiming Isak had been told he will not be sold this summer, Howe added, "That's not something I'm aware of. Of course, there's discussions going on all the time that I'm not party to. I have no knowledge of that." Newcastle are said to have placed a $150 million price tag on Isak's in an effort to ward off potential suitors, but face a major task to persuade the player to continue his career at St. James. Asked if he believed he could talk his star frontman round, Howe said, "If it was that easy, I'd have done it yesterday." In more positive news for Howe, Newcastle are understood to be closing in on a deal for AC Milan's Germany international defender Malik Thiaw. They've known Newcastle approach questioned amid Alexander Isak for Liverpool transfer. Latest, Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak continues to be linked with a move to Liverpool. Liverpool have been warned Newcastle United's difficulty in completing transfer business could scupper their plans to sign Alexander Isak this summer. The Reds have targeted Isak to bolster their attacking options and had a $110 million bid rejected by Newcastle earlier this month. Liverpool remain interested in Isak but are not planning on making a second bid as things stand and are instead keeping a watching brief of developments on Tyneside. Isak continues to train away from the Newcastle first team, with Magpies boss Eddie Howe having admitted the player is almost certain not to feature in their Premier League opener at Aston Villa next Saturday. The Sweden international, who hasn't played at all during pre-season, has informed Newcastle of his desire to leave and has turned down the offer and improved new contract. The Magpies, though, will not entertain an exit unless they can recruit replacements and have already missed out on both Hugo Ekitike, who joined Liverpool from Eintracht Frankfurt, and RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, who has agreed a move to Manchester United. And Newcastle legend Alan Shearer believes Isak's future will only be resolved once his former club have brought in other forwards, with the Magpies still hopeful of finalizing a deal for Brentford's Yoane Wissa. The biggest thing they have to do is somehow sort the Isak situation out, and if they can't get anyone in, I guess that means he isn't going anywhere, said Shearer. Eddie will have to be at his persuasive best to try and turn Isak's head around because it has been turned in terms of him wanting to go to Liverpool. On the proviso that he does want to go, and Eddie can't turn his head, then you get the money. But prior to that, you have to get people in to replace him. Newcastle have thus far only brought in winger Anthony Elanga and lone goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale this summer, with their efforts not helped by the departure of sporting director Paul Mitchell at the end of June and the absence of chief executive Darren Eales through health problems, and Shearer added, "Why can't Newcastle get business done? I don't know whether it's to do with the fact they don't have a chief executive or sporting director. They've known for months now that the chief executive was leaving, so I'm pretty surprised that one hasn't been announced as yet. The sporting director left a couple of months ago now, and they've known that, so that's a big surprise that those spaces haven't been filled. Whether that has anything to do with Newcastle's lack of business and the number of players that have said no to them, I don't know. It's not a good look." Speaking to Betfair, Shearer praised Liverpool's transfer dealings this summer and is convinced they will bolster another area of their squad. Liverpool have been very, very strong in the transfer market, and they'll be very strong again next season, he said. There are still a few questions defensively, and I'd guess that centre-half is still a position that they want to fill, certainly with added numbers, because they are light in that position. It wouldn't surprise me if they're in the market for another centre-half. Liverpool, with the signings that they've made and the position that they're in, I think they're going to be really tough to stop on all counts this season. Darwin Nunez leaves Liverpool for Al Hilal in 46.3 millones move. Liverpool part ways with Darwin Nunez as Al Hilal seal 46.3 millones. Deal Darwin Nunez's turbulent Liverpool chapter has closed, with the Uruguayan striker completing a 3-year move to Saudi Pro League giants Al Hilal. The deal, worth €53 million, 46.3 minutes, signals the end of a spell that promised much but often veered between chaos and brilliance. Liverpool confirmed the news on Saturday, adding in a statement, "Everybody at the club would like to thank Darwin for his contributions and wish him and his family all the best for the future." The 26-year-old has already linked up with his new teammates on their pre-season camp in Germany, marking a fresh start after 3 seasons at Anfield. From Benfica stardom to Anfield's mixed fortunes, signed from Benfica in June 2022 for an initial 64 meters, Nunez arrived on Merseyside as the spearhead for a new era. His raw power and unorthodox movement earned him the nickname Captain Chaos from Jamie Carragher. Yet that unpredictability proved both his charm and his undoing. In 143 appearances, Nunez scored 40 goals. There were flashes of the forward. Liverpool thought they had secured his match-winning brace at Newcastle in August 2023, a stoppage-time strike against Nottingham Forest in March 2024, and 2 late goals against Brentford in January that kept the title push alive. Still, consistency eluded him. He started just 8 Premier League matches during last season's title triumph and was increasingly used from the bench under new head coach Arne Slot. Numbers that tell the story over 3 campaigns. Nunez managed 25 Premier League goals in 95 games, 46 of them as a substitute. His debut season brought 15 goals in all competitions. His second improved to 18, but the final campaign under Slot saw him score just 7 times from 47 outings. Those numbers paint the picture of a player whose moments of impact were too sporadic for a club with Liverpool's ambitions. It is little surprise that Slot has opted to seek alternative attacking options, with speculation mounting over a potential move for Newcastle's Alexander Isak after an initial 110 million bid was rejected. A career that divided opinion. For some, Nunez will be remembered for the chaos, the drama, and the occasional lightning strike of quality. For others, his time at Liverpool will be marked by the opportunities that slipped away, sometimes by inches, as in that glaring miss against Newcastle in December 2024. Either way, Nunez leaves England as a Premier League winner, a player who thrilled and frustrated in equal measure, and whose legacy will spark debate on Merseyside for years to come. Joe Cole picks Liverpool's new star as Premier League signing of the summer. Liverpool broke the British transfer record to sign Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen earlier this summer, with the attacking midfielder costing up to $156 million. Joe Cole believes that Florian Wirtz represents the standout acquisition of the summer in the Premier League, describing Liverpool's capture of the Bayer Leverkusen sensation as a massive statement. The Reds have emerged as the division's most prolific spenders after splashing close to $400 million to reinforce Arne Slot's squad across all areas of the pitch. However, their domestic competitors have also committed substantial funds to new talent ahead of the forthcoming 2025-26 campaign. Arsenal invested heavily in securing a striker through Victor Gyökeres, whilst Manchester United have transformed their attacking options by acquiring Matthias Cunha, Brian Mbeumo, and Benjamin Sesko for considerable 8-figure fees. Yet Cole believes securing Wirtz, brought in for a British record of up to 156 million, stands as the transfer masterstroke of the summer in the Premier League. Liverpool have made a massive statement, Cole told TNT Sports. When you see a player who can slow the game down like he can when he's on the ball, he's absolutely brilliant. I think it's the signing of the summer. When was the last time Liverpool made a signing like this? For me, it's the statement signing. He's the best young player in the world, and they've just spent over $100 million to get him. He's just a natural footballer. The more we talk about Liverpool and their new signings, I just can't see past them for the title now. For me, they are the most clear favorites to win the league we've had in the last 10 years. The best have got better again, and they've raised the bar. Owen Hargreaves echoed Cole's admiration for Wirtz, who achieved double figures in both goals and assists in the Bundesliga last season. Florian Wirtz is really unique, and that's probably why they signed him, he added. In those tight spaces, he's probably the best in the world, and he's a good finisher as well. He's learned to be the focal point and actually get goals and assists. As much as he cost, I think people will be surprised by how amazing he is. He just gives Liverpool something different. This kid is very unique. The only problem for him is the price tag because he's so expensive and people are going to expect crazy numbers, but he will give Liverpool something different.